The sun was beginning to set behind the buildings, dyeing the sky a soft orange. In the midst of the hustle and bustle of the city, Nicholas always found his refuge in the university library. It was a place where he could escape the chaos, surrounded by books and a silence that enveloped him like a warm blanket. His engineering studies kept him focused, but there was something else that made him return there again and again. Every afternoon at the same time Miguel arrived, a young man with dark hair and a faint smile, who seemed to get lost among the literature books. They had never spoken, but every time he saw him, Nicholas felt a strange tingle run through his chest. It wasn't an obvious physical attraction. It was something deeper, a silent connection, something that didn't need words to be understood. Nicholas was an introvert, accustomed to thinking more than saying, to analyzing before acting. On the other hand, Miguel seemed to flow, to move with the same calm with which he turned the pages of his books. They never exchanged more than fleeting glances, but each of those glances contained an entire universe. One day, like any other, Nicholas sat in his usual spot, with his laptop open in front of him. He tried to concentrate on his calculations, but the slight rustling of the pages in Miguel's book, sitting a few tables away, stole his attention. His eyes kept returning to him, as if there was an invisible magnet attracting them. The sensations in his body were confusing, but intense. It wasn't just the accelerated beat of his heart, but also a kind of heat that spread from his chest to his hands, which were beginning to sweat slightly. It was as if the air became thicker when Miguel was near, making breathing a conscious effort. One day, after weeks of this silent game, Nicholas decided he couldn't stand the silence anymore. He stood up, nervous, feeling his legs tremble slightly. As he came closer, each step seemed to amplify the pressure in his chest. "Hello," he said quietly, surprised that his words didn't break. Miguel looked up, his clear eyes meeting Nicholas's. There was a pause, a second that seemed to stretch out in time, before Miguel responded with a calm smile. "Hello." They talked first about books, then about Miguel's literary career and how it complemented Nicholas's more structured and logical world. With each word, Nicholas felt something inside him release, a mix of nerves and excitement, but also a strange peace, as if they were building something together, brick by brick, without realizing it. The conversations became frequent, deeper and deeper, exploring not only their interests, but also their fears and desires. Nicholas was impressed by how Miguel could speak of his emotions so clearly, something he himself found difficult to do. Miguel was everything Nicholas was not: open, expressive, but also full of a calm that he found contagious. The moments of silence between them were the most meaningful. In those moments, Nicholas could feel the constant beat of his own heart, the warmth of Miguel's presence at his side. Emotions he couldn't describe with words manifested themselves in the electricity he felt every time their hands accidentally brushed against each other, in the sweet tension that formed when their eyes met and neither wanted to move away. One day, as they left the library, walking together under the starry sky, Nicholas stopped. He took a deep breath and, without thinking too much, took Miguel's hand. He did it so delicately, as if he was afraid that any sudden movement would break the fragile balance they had built. Miguel stood still, but he didn't take his hand away. Instead, he squeezed it gently, returning the gesture with a calm that calmed all of Nicholas's nerves. "I always knew you would say something," Miguel whispered, without letting go of his hand. Nicholas smiled. At that moment, he knew that words weren't always necessary. Sometimes the most complex sensations, those that come from deep within the skin, are the ones that really tell the story.